Have you ever wondered about all the different visa types in the United States? This is Joseph Patrick Murphy. I'm an immigration attorney with Joseph Patrick Murphy, and I'm going to go over some of the most common types of non-immigrant visas you might run into out in the world talking about visas. Now, this is a subcategory. All visas are either immigrant visas or non-immigrant visas. Immigrant visas are for people who are moving into the United States. They want to get a green card and maybe someday even citizenship. I'm not talking about immigrant visas. I'm talking about non-immigrant visas. These are visas for a temporary purpose. Let's start at the top, the A visa. An A visa is for foreign diplomats. The holders of an A visa are admitted to this country. They don't plan on becoming Americans or even getting green cards. Another interesting thing about the A visa is that these people have diplomatic immunity. They're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. So if they want to get any kind of immigration benefit, perhaps if they marry a citizen, change their mind, want to get a green card, an A visa holder has to file a waiver of diplomatic immunity, and that's the A visa. The B visa, there's the B1 and the B2, is a visitor. A B1 is a business visitor, like a foreign executive coming into the United States to sign a contract or buy a building. The B2 is a tourist. Generally, that's a tourism visitor, temporary purpose. B2 can sometimes be used to come into the United States and get medical treatment. C and D visas are what are called transit visas. C1 is for people that are entering the United States on their way to, for example, a ship. All right, so if you're coming to the United States to work on Carnival Cruise Line and you want to leave the airport and drive to Carnival, that would be on a C1 visa. D1's the opposite. When the ship comes back and you need to leave the ship and go back to the airport and fly back to your home country, that's a D1. And a lot of times crewmen who are doing that sort of work are issued a hybrid visa called a C1D, and it's actually a C1 and a D1. That's a very interesting thing, the C1D visa. Another interesting piece of information about the C1D visa is that C1D holders are ineligible for the green card. You can't jump ship and apply for a green card, even if you marry a citizen. And that's the C1 and the D1, and of course the hybrid, the C1D. E visas are for foreigners that want to open businesses in the United States. So they want to, maybe they're here from Greece and they want to open up a Greek restaurant, or from China and they want to open up a Chinese restaurant. They're allowed to do that as long as they're from a country we have a treaty of trade with. And you can look up, it's a list, it's right on Google, treaty trader nations. Those countries either have E1, E2, E3, and those people are able to open up businesses here in the United States, but they're limited to working in the businesses they opened, and the businesses have to stay solvent. If those businesses fail, they have to go home. Family of E-visa holders usually can get unrestricted work permits, so they're not stuck working in mom or dad's Chinese restaurant. Well, interestingly, Chinese restaurant probably wouldn't qualify. I don't know if we have a treaty of trade with China, but that's the E visa. The F visa is for students. Okay, the F1 is the primary student, and then there's an F2 for the spouse, and so on. Those students have to be enrolled full-time at an educational institution in the United States, and their ability to work is severely limited, okay, because they're not supposed to be here to make money, they're here to get education. However, F visa holders can work for the university. They could be teacher's assistants, they could even work in the cafeteria. And if it's part of their curriculum, F visa holders can do something called OPT. That's if they get a job offer or an internship offer, more importantly, that is relevant to the field of study they were engaged in. They can do that for up to 20 hours a week, as long as it doesn't interfere with their studies and it's approved by the academic institution. G visa is very similar to the A visa. It's a representative of a foreign government that might not be a diplomat. For example, representatives of a foreign military or foreign police force that are here perhaps for training. G visa also has diplomatic immunity, just like the A visa, and of course if a G visa holder wants to adjust status, get a green card, if things change, if their plans change while they're here, they have to waive that diplomatic immunity. CFG. H is foreign temporary workers. H1, we've all heard about the H1B. Those are generally high-tech workers, programmers, things like that. H2 is divided into H2A. Those are temporary agricultural workers, and H2B, which are temporary seasonal non-agricultural workers. GHI, I don't think there's an I visa. J visa is the work and learn visa. That's for foreign students to come to the United States. They can take classes on that visa at the university level or really in anything they want. And they can also work. J visa holders have an unrestricted ability to work. If you remember, the E visa has to work in their own business. The F visa can't work at all. The A and G have to be working for the home government, but the J visa has an unlimited, there has to be a job sponsor, but they're not stuck there. K visa is a foreign fiance. This is someone who is still in the foreign country and has gotten engaged to an American citizen and wants to come in the United States so they can get married. That's the K visa. That's the 90-day fiancé. They have 90 days once they enter to marry the citizen. Some interesting things about the K visa is you have to have met in person in the 2 years preceding the application for K visa. So these things where you meet someone on the internet, some dating site, even video dating, these modern things, people can form very strong bonds over those services, but the government still requires that you have met in person at least once within the preceding 2 years before you apply. Children of K visa get, I think it's K2. L visa is for foreign managers and executives. Okay, businesses sometimes need to transfer executives around. They need to transfer a really skilled executive to the New York City office. L visas are pretty easy to get for these highly skilled executives and managers, and they can move into the business in a related business from, say, Mercedes-Benz in Stuttgart to Mercedes-Benz in Chicago relatively easily, and they can be up and running pretty quickly. M visa, I believe, is for foreign medical students. It's similar to an F visa, but I believe that's for medical training only. I don't know if there's an N visa. I've never encountered one. O visa is for very highly skilled, it's a temporary non-immigrant visa for very highly skilled foreign intellectuals of various types. P is for foreign performers, actors, people in music bands. Again, these are non-immigrant visas to come in and play a gig, okay? And those people are allowed to work. The O visas and the P visas are allowed to work in the professions that they claim they're doing. A P visa holder can't come here and get a job at Subway. They have to be working as a theatrical performer. So if they're a foreign actor, a foreign musician, even foreign acrobats and things, Cirque du Soleil, they'd all be under the P visa. LMNOP. Q visa, I've heard of it. I don't know what it is. LMNOP-Q. R visa is for religious workers. Those are foreign priests, deacons, church officials. It can't just be anybody associated with the church. In most cases, they have to have some sort of ordination. An S visa is for snitches. These are informants that are working for law enforcement, supplying information, and the government needs to keep them here so that they can testify and continue to provide information. So that's the S visa. It's a non-immigrant visa, but if you can earn and stay in S status for a number of years, then they do allow you to apply for a green card. T is similar to S. That's for victims of human trafficking. Victims of human trafficking, whether or not they report it to the police, can apply for a T visa, and ultimately, once they've received that after a few years, again, with good conduct and continued cooperation with the authorities, T visa holders can get their green card and ultimately citizenship. U visa is for victims of crime in general. That is to say, where T is specifically for trafficking victim, there's many more crimes that a U visa can be predicated upon. There's a list of them. You can look it up if you wanted to Google U visa qualifying crimes. They tend to be somewhat salacious crimes, human trafficking, rape. They involve all sorts of compulsory stuff. So that's the U visa. V visa, okay, I've never seen a V visa, but I usually talk about people who are going for the green card through what's called VAWA. That's the Violence Against Women Act. These are the abused spouses of U.S. citizens or green card holders that are working on a green card through marriage to a citizen or green card holder, and something goes wrong in the marriage and it becomes abusive. Under those circumstances, it would be somewhat dangerous because the non-citizen might stay in the dangerous and abusive marriage because they want that green card. With the VAWA program, and that's VAWA, they can ask the government to be relieved of the obligation to stay with the abusive citizen so that they can get the green card without being put in harm's way. I've never seen a W, X, Y, or Z visa, but this is Joseph Patrick Murphy with a short rundown of the most common types of non-immigrant visas. Thank you for watching.